As always, I'm going to start off this video by saying that I want to get 10,000 subscribers this year. So if you haven't already and you like the content, hit that subscribe button and I'd love you forever. Because why not? It's free and you get to listen to me witter on about all sorts of shit, such as Falcon and Winter Soldier. So yes, the video today is of course going to be about the next Marvel series after WandaVision, which is the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Expectations for this series were very high, I've got to say, and that's mostly due to the fact that out of the MCU, the Captain America stuff is probably my favourite. Whilst I think Iron Man as a character is probably my favourite, I think all three of the Captain America movies are some of the best in the MCU. Maybe not First Avenger, but it's still pretty good. And I'm very invested in Steve Rogers and his supporting characters as well, which of course include the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Now obviously at the end of Endgame, Steve, Old Man Steve, he passed on his shield to Sam Wilson, who is of course the Falcon, and this series follows his story on his journey to become Captain America. Right from the get-go, I've got to say this series pissed me off. The main reason why is because I don't like the fact that Sam straight away gave the shield back. There are obviously reasons as to why he would do this, but it just kind of felt out of the blue, because at the end of Endgame, when he says to Steve like, oh, I'll do my best and like, thank you for giving me the shield, etc. I know that's not verbatim, but that's kind of the implication of that scene. So for him to then just give it away, I don't know, it didn't sit right with me. Of course, throughout this entire series, you are going to build up to the moment where he does become Captain America, but I feel like they could have handled it in a slightly better way. I will get to the positives, but the other thing that really pissed me off in this series was, I kind of said this in my WandaVision review, but this has the reverse problem. I feel like they needed more episodes. Now, whether that's because of COVID and that just cut down what they could actually do, I don't know. But the stuff with Bucky, fuck me, was that rushed. So at the start of the series, Bucky remembers, like we have a flashback, and Bucky remembers every single person that he killed as the Winter Soldier, and he's obviously got that burden because, well, you would. Especially because he was mind controlled as well. It's like, he did do those things, but he didn't really do those things type thing. But it's the fact that he even killed innocent people, and in this series you see him interact with this old guy. Now at first I thought, oh, maybe he's an old war buddy from like back in the day, but no, it turns out he's the father of someone who he killed, who wasn't like a bad guy, he was just the wrong guy in the wrong place. And you actually think that that's really going to go somewhere, but in the last episode when he finally confesses what he did to the old guy, he literally just tells him and then the scene ends. You don't see any consequences for Bucky, or you don't see that weight lifted off of his shoulders. The implication is there again, but I feel like that was a moment that really needed to be a lot bigger, because there's a fair chunk of this series that's dedicated to Bucky and what he's going through and the PTSD of him being the Winter Soldier. That payoff just wasn't there. But let's talk about the positives now. I pretty much love everything else about this series. I mean, the government is obviously, you know, if they get the shield back, they're obviously just going to give it to somebody else, because why wouldn't they? Now, another thing that really confused me is I didn't watch this as it came out. I've only watched it recently, and I've noticed that a lot of the reaction to John Walker is that he's a prick and that he's horrible and that he's awful and that he's one of the worst characters ever. He's so dislikable. If I'm totally honest with you guys, I actually quite like John Walker as a character. I don't get where all the hate's coming from, at least to the level that it was at. I mean, obviously he's not Steve, but it's like he's talking to Sam and Bucky throughout the entire series, trying to be friends with them, offering them help, and they're the ones who turn their back on him. So I don't get why John Walker was the problem. Now listen, he is a smarmy prick, I do get that, and that side of him is not really likable. And I guess there also is that thing of, he's not doing this because it's the right thing to do, he's doing this because he's Captain America, which even though Steve was Captain America, he was Steve Rogers first and foremost. But yeah, I mean, listen, there are moments with John Walker, particularly at the end of episode 4, where you're like, fucking hell, this is definitely not Steve, but I just didn't get the vitriol that was aimed at him. There was more moments where I was actually pissed off with Sam and Bucky, because I'm like, come on, like, yeah, he's not Steve, and you know Steve, but this guy's trying. But on the flip side, he straight up murders a dude with the shield, which was awesome. And I'm really excited to see where the US agent is going to fit into the MCU, whether he's going to be in an ensemble with other people, which it looks like it's going to go. Maybe he's going to be in the next Captain America movie. I have no idea, but either way, I did actually quite like John Walker as a character. and I'm interested to see where he goes next. Let's talk about, of course, the star of the show, which is Falcon. Now, Anthony Mackie, right, he's one of my fucking favourite actors at the minute. I love the guy. He's hilarious, and I love him as Falcon. I think this series, for Sam Wilson, we finally get a little bit more about him, because in the previous appearances that he's had, I've enjoyed them. I really liked him in Winter Soldier, and obviously he's got that really good cameo in Ant-Man as well, and he's been in the Avengers films and Civil War, but you didn't really know Sam. You just kind of get the surface level Sam. Whereas in this, they delve a little deeper. You go into his family life, and you see that him picking up the mantle of Captain America isn't the easiest decision. Again, in the beginning, I feel they could have handled it a little bit better. But at the same time, I do understand the reasons why Sam is a bit hesitant. It's the race thing. It's also, can he live up to Steve Rogers? It's a plethora of different things, and he's trying to balance all these different things in his head and trying to figure out, like, am I right for this? Like, am I the person who should be picking up that shield? And I enjoyed his story arc. And I mean, compared to WandaVision, this show is a much more MCU style thing. WandaVision was totally its own thing, and it didn't really feel like anything else in the MCU. This very much did. This could easily be Captain America 4. But yeah, Sam throughout this entire thing, like, I really felt like I connected with him on a level that I didn't before. I mean, it helps that Anthony Mackie is as likable as he is, both as a person and in the role, but the writing really got to me in places where I was like, yeah, I feel what you're saying there. Like, there's a moment with the leader of the Flag Smashers, who I'll get to in a sec, where everything that she's talking about, Sam stood there and he's like, you do realise I agree with everything that you're saying, I just don't agree with the way that you're doing it. And to me, I was like, that's such a Captain America thing. So throughout the course of the show, you do see him slowly grow into the role before he even picks up the shield properly. So let's talk about the Flag Smashers, who are the main overarching villain of this series. They were okay. Again, I feel like if we had a little bit more time, you could flesh them out a little bit, but at the same time, it also kind of felt like they're just sort of saying the same things over and over again. I mean, they were doing the whole super soldier thing again, which is okay, but I am a little bit bored of it at this point. So yeah, as an overarching villain, meh. But, I mean, they did have their moments, I will say that. Zemo, let's get into Zemo. Now, a lot of people said that he stole the show. I don't agree with that. I do think that they wasted Zemo a little bit. There's that one episode where he puts on the famous mask from the comics, and it feels like there is no reason whatsoever as to why he actually put the mask on, other than, well, in the comics, Zemo wears that mask. But I did really like this uneasy alliance between Bucky, Sam, and Zemo, and you do really feel that at any moment Zemo is going to double cross them. However, I also have a bone to pick with that, actually, the more I think about it. Trust me, I do really like this show, but I have to just mention the negatives. The thing is with Zemo, I felt like his characterization from Civil War was off. In Civil War, he's not doing this because he's some evil genius. He's doing this because his heart got broken and his family and his whole life was torn apart because of the Avengers. So it was like this sick act of revenge. Whereas in this, it does feel like he's not that. He's not this somewhat sympathetic character. He's just an evil dickhead genius now, which works for the character. It absolutely does. Daniel Bruhl plays it really well, but it just sort of felt like there's something in the middle here to go from there, from him in Civil War to him now. Like, why is he just an evil genius now and not this guy who just wants his family back and wants revenge for his family getting killed in the first place? But I've got to say, the action in this show, oh my god, I mean, I'm pretty sure the budget for this was like through the fucking roof and pretty much the same as a normal Marvel movie. But I really enjoyed the action in this, and I thought what was interesting is, in the Captain America films, the way that he uses the shield, as in Steve, like, he will do different things with it, you know, so it's not just the same sort of throw in all the time. I like the fact that when Sam uses the shield, it's not exactly the same as Steve, and it plays to the strengths of Falcon, so he will use his little jetpack to jump into someone. Obviously, he's not a super soldier like Steve was, so Steve could literally just sprint and ram into someone, whereas Sam, no, he uses his jetpack, or he's in the air and he throws it, and all that sort of stuff. I thought that was actually pretty cool. His suit is incredible, by the way. I love Falcon's suit. I mean, I saw like they did the Marvel Legends, they announced them, and it's like the Falcon, Captain America, and Bucky, and, you know, like a few characters from this, and I was like, I am nearly 26, but I do want them. I'm not gonna get them. I might get them. I really like his speech at the end. Again, I don't think it was perfect, but I think the whole point of that speech is for him to say, like, listen, I don't have all the answers, neither do you, So instead of, you know, acting like everything is black and white, maybe look at the grey areas and maybe ask questions, maybe ask why people are doing what they're doing. And I really like that. I like the fact that his speech at the end wasn't like, this is what you should do, this is what you should do. It was more like, let's start a dialogue, let's try and look at things from a different angle. And I've got to say, I am very excited for the next Captain America film, because I really want to see a fully fledged, dedicated Sam Wilson Captain America movie now. Wanted one anyway, but this has just solidified my want for it. So I think I gave WandaVision a 6 out of 10. I'm going to give Falcon and Winter Soldier a 7.5 out of 10. I do feel like we needed a couple more episodes, or just to expand on a couple of things, and I feel like certain choices didn't quite go the way that I wanted them, like I already mentioned, but it's still a very solid show. Unlike WandaVision, I absolutely would watch this again, but whether that's because the show itself was as good as it could be, or because I'm just invested in the Captain America stuff already, I don't know. In the comments below though, guys, let me know what you think of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Whatever it is, let me know down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like on it, subscribe for more. Social media and Patreon links will be in the description as always, so if you'd follow me on any of those things, I'd absolutely love you forever. But until next time guys, you take care of yourselves. Goodbye.